I'm Emmie.
And I'm May.
And this is the Female Founders Rise show.
In this episode, it's actually from one of our live recordings at the Female Founders Rise live show.
Lottie is a founder of 3 businesses. She's a new mum and she's also a marketing expert. And we cover off all those super important topics.
Okay, so Lottie, I am actually expecting my first child, so I am very excited to...
Congratulations!
Basically, thank you, ask you all about motherhood and founders. So that's my first question, is basically, before you had the baby, what did you think that it would be like to run a business versus now? Has it changed?
Well, my expectations were incredibly low, like through the floor low. So everyone, well, actually Liv, who's sitting in the front row, told me a birth story that made it sound like a music video. So I was like, well, Liv said that giving birth was like a sort of, this like iconic dream, dream moment of euphoria. So like, that sounds all right. Everything else I'd heard from every other woman was that the process of like getting pregnant, labour was awful. And the juggle, right? We all talk about the juggle, which like feels like this hot potato that you're like chucking around. And I had loads of friends who'd been through really extreme postnatal depression. You know, like a real mental health episode post-birth. And so I had a huge number of examples around me of it being really, really brutal. So my expectations were on the ground. And I'm pleased to say it's great. The juggle is not a hot potato. It's like lots of things you adore. Like I love running my business. I love it. Like work is so interesting and rewarding. I absolutely love being with my son. I also love not doing either. That doesn't happen. That one is not occurring. But I think that I'm like torn between 2 things that give me loads of energy. So that feels way better than this like awful compromise.
So that's actually quite good to have low expectation then, I think, going into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so served by it. Like every time it's not abjectly awful, I'm like, this is great.
And what's been the single biggest change in how you work since becoming a mum then?
I used to say I'm not a night person. That is now not negotiable. So at the moment, I'm working full time with 9 till 3 childcare 2 or 3 days a week. And my baby's now 10 months, so he's like not at the age that I can just take him to meetings. He did an awful lot of coming to meetings with me. And I'd say like 2 out of 3, it was fine. I did some deals I would not have done if he wasn't with me. So he was definitely like an excellent prop. In some times, people were like, yeah, sure, let's go for like a 3-hour walk. Babies are cute. And I was like, great, you didn't reply to my emails for a year. So that was really good. Then there were some absolute disasters. And now he's like, kicks the cup over and wants to be fair. You know, he's not just an amenable little accessory anymore. So it's changing. And so when I used to work a lot, like first thing in the morning and then kind of finish at 5 and then I'd like do my own thing. Now I like put him to bed, log back on at 8 and like that's almost my deep work time. I'd love to say that I'm way more efficient. I honestly don't think I am. I think I just like don't do the stuff there are things that don't happen because I just run out of time. I don't think I'm doing stuff much faster. I think I always was quite fast. Maybe it's about the marginal gains. I think I'd like maxed out speed. And so now I'm like, there's nothing more I can kind of get on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, you brought your little baby, remind me his name? Hal to our meeting, and he was very well behaved.
He was quite good that day.
Yeah, I was like, this is impressive. I don't think I ever took my babies to meetings. But anyway, so what I'd love to know, what do you say yes to, or what did you say yes to before, first of all, that you now don't agree to? What boundaries have you put in place? What's changed?
I just can't do coffees. Like, you know, all those really lovely LinkedIn messages where it's like, be so nice to go for coffee. And I'm like, no, it would be so nice. Like, I truly agree. That would be lovely, but I cannot. So, no, I do no coffees. I was pretty sassy before. I'm now like, please give me a detailed agenda and an opportunity cost analysis of this coffee, and then I will entertain it. So yeah, I can't do coffees. I can't really do evening stuff, although it's coming back. Like the spreadsheet and the like Google Calendar makes more of it possible. But it's just like, is it worth it? Like, is it worth being tired? I don't leave Hackney, really, at all. Because again, travel time, I'm like, just call me. I do way less video calls. That is actually something I wish I'd learned earlier. So much of my life can be done on the phone with my AirPods. So I like brutally divide my diary into what has to happen at laptop time and what can happen on a call when I'm walking around the park. And actually, way more can happen outside of laptop time than you think. So I move anything that's like a gossipy one-to-one or like an exploratory conversation, which means my step count is chef's kiss. Like, I'm really getting the steps in, and I'm like just spending way less time on the screen.
I do the same. You can't get a video call with me unless you're a sponsor who's spending loads of money with us. Oh, have I got my mic on? Yeah, I think I have. But yeah, that's so interesting. You've really got to set boundaries, haven't you? Because otherwise you're not going to work out the juggle. What about mum guilt? Have you got to that point yet? I know it's something that everyone talks about. I was saying to May, I don't have mum guilt. Is that bad?
What is that?
Well, when you feel guilty that you're working all the time and you're not with your children.
Yeah, no, I please don't tell my partner this. I have real guilt when he comes in and I'm like looking after Hal and I'm actually just like obviously on a call, like really visibly distracted. And he's like, the baby. And I'm like, I know. So that makes me feel guilty. But I don't really have, I spend enough time with him. He doesn't do much. Like, he's getting enough from me, he's fine.
I think you're juggling it amazingly well. I've seen what you're doing, and that's why we want to get you on a podcast, because I think you make it possible. Like, you're running a business and you're with your son. Yeah. So what are you doing? How do you make that work?
So I ended up taking 6 weeks off before he was born, because he was very late. He did not want to come into this world. And I was really heavy. I just couldn't do anything. That was great. And then I took like 3 months off. But I was on Slack in intensive care, and I will never live that down. I was like, I'm bored. Like everyone's on Instagram when they're in hospital. Why can't I be on Slack? It's my social media channel of choice. Let it go.
You didn't take 3 months off then?
No, but I did a lot less. So I did very, very little for 3 months. I made no decisions. I said that I was available if my team wanted to call me, but I couldn't do anything on a fixed time. I couldn't do anything on a screen, but if they wanted to come round, or if they wanted to be like, if they was like, can you call me this afternoon? I could do that, but I had to reserve the right to be like, today and sleep deprived, no. So I did that. It kind of kept me engaged. Then I got some childcare 3 hours a week, twice a week. So 3 hours a day, twice a week. So I'd have like a little chunk of time to do something kind of a bit for me and a bit of work, and then built it up from there. So I think like building up really slowly has really helped for me. So I never had like an off-on transition. It was more of like a fade. Because I think returning to work is brutal. I really feel for my team who are like off and then suddenly they're just thrown like back into the blender full time. I think that would really throw me.
I was saying that to someone the other day. I think that is actually a massive benefit of being a founder, is that you can decide. And also, we all love what we do. You know, well, most founders I know love what they do. So actually, you can juggle. You can do a bit of work. You can do a bit of being a mum, and having nothing to do apart from look after a baby for 6 months. I personally would find a bit of a struggle.
Well, I'm trying to work out how to create like 10% contracts for my team, so that women who are off could choose to do like a non-urgent project while they were off and be paid for it. Because I think I've started obviously I've started a sub-community about the community because I can't help myself. I've started a WhatsApp group for mums in marketing on maternity leave, and they're all going mad. And they want to come for coffee because they don't want to talk about nap schedules. They want to talk about like a campaign or how AI is changing the industry or like something interesting. And so, yeah, I think they actually want to be paid to use naps to do something that's going to fulfill them. And also fair play if you don't.
Yeah.
There's no pressure for that to be the way you want to do things.
So many, I think, female founders or even just people working in a job are waiting for the right time to have a kid. Would you say that there is a right time, or did you do that?
No. I mean, my Instagram feed was like, your fertility is crashing. So I didn't really feel like I had a choice because I felt like the private healthcare industry was screaming at me that I didn't. I did start Project Baby in my business 18 months before I got pregnant. And it was and then this is the perk of being a solo founder, right? That I can do this. Like most people can't do this in their jobs, like not a PC move. To be like, to put a slide up in a leadership meeting, like what happens if I get pregnant? But we started designing for that long before it happened. And it was a really good forcing mechanism for us to think as a business about what would happen if I took a year off. And that the exam question was, if I disappear for a full year, how does this operate?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're currently doing. And I think, yeah, any tips around that in terms of what to prepare and how do you prepare your team? Did you get someone in to replace you?
No, I divided my roles up between the rest of my team and created like a kind of Lord of the Flies. Like, don't do what I did. And that's why I came back in, because they were like all calling me to be like, it's really quite tense. Can someone make some decisions? So I sort of like sorted that out, which is what I then ended up going back in to do a bit of. But I think lots of businesses would be much better off if they did that soul searching and started to think.
Exercise.
I think it's such a good exercise. So I really recommend it as like as an exam question.
Yeah, love that.
So let's move on to marketing, because you're a marketing expert. Yeah.
Attempting so, correct?
Are there any trends or anything that you see going on in the world of entrepreneurship that the founders and the audience and listening to this podcast should know about? What are you seeing working for your clients? What are you seeing that's interesting?
I think that I don't think either of these are going to feel original, but I think personal brand, telling your story as a founder, getting on LinkedIn, showing up, finding opportunities to like use your story as a launch pad is now it feels like that should be obvious, but I still think it's underutilized so consistently. And not just underutilized, but like really underinvested in. Like I think lots of founders carry it as like a thing that's solely their job and don't ask for marketing resource to help. And I just always think like, I'm not going to attempt to do my own accounts. That would be a disaster. So why are you doing your personal brand all on your own? I think it can be really powerful. So I think treat it as a proper priority marketing channel and invest in it, whether that's just like your resource or investing in it by getting people to help you with that really seriously. And then I think the other one that's really interesting at the moment is in real life and how you activate an actual community. I did Hackney Half yesterday, and I thought that, I was like, I'm doing a run, but actually what I'm doing is a tour of brand activations. And it was really cool to see how brands are showing up to like reach people in a way that feels memorable, that they're going to talk about, that is engaging. And I think that's something again that we like haven't thought enough about because we've all got really lazy and addicted to Meta.
And actually, I saw that post about Pip and Nut.
Yeah.
So tell us what they were doing.
A Pip and peanut butter jar, trying to stay up, like trying to catch him the whole way. Couldn't do it.
Amazing. And what about AI in marketing? How's that? I know that's a big topic, but like, how would you be suggesting to your clients, or how are you using it for your clients?
The question, so for context, I run a fractional marketing agency, which means that brands come to us and ask us to build us build them a part-time marketing team. I employ lots of marketers who I then like use in those teams. And I think it's fascinating how rarely we're getting asked, what's your AI strategy? As in every time they don't say it on a call, the last 2 minutes, I'm like, shall I tell you about our AI strategy? Because that feels kind of weird that you haven't grilled me on that. But I'm still shocked by how rare it's coming up. So I think if you're asking the question, let's all just remember that that's a head start and that they're like, I think it can feel really overwhelming. I've definitely had my fair share of like AI-induced panic attacks of just like, I'm gonna get eaten by robots, I can't keep up. And I think we have to remember that by being aware of the problem, we're in the top 1%, and that's a helpful piece of reassurance. But ask the right questions. And then we've had one brand so far reduce our time with them because, and the line was, because AI is gonna do the work. And we were like, okay, how? And which was super interesting, when I asked the how, they were like, because our founders told us that AI is going to do the work. And when I challenged them, this is a true story, when I challenged them in the leadership meeting, I got threatened with a disciplinary. So now we're just going to say that AI is going to do the work. And I was like, okay, so that's the level, that's the depth of thinking around how AI is going to do the work. Like, it's just so paper thin still. So the way I'm approaching it is to counsel, not scaremonger, my team, by basically saying, like, we have to be exceptional AI or we're not going to have jobs. And I really believe if we are exceptional AI, we will have jobs. And I think marketers are still going to be a crucial part of the conversation because someone has to be championing for the prompts that's putting the customer at the heart of the business. But I think we all have a personal responsibility to get really good at this stuff quickly.
Yeah, I agree. And it's something that we're really passionate about. And I remember hearing someone, and I can't remember who it was, but they were saying basically you've got to be shit hot at AI and shit hot at human connection. And if you get those two things right, you'll win. But if you're sort of doing bits and bobs in the middle, you're not going to.
Yeah, that's
and I think
really
we
nice
see
way of
that.
framing it.
We see that with female founders. You know, they want to meet in real life. That's why we're doing this. But you also have to know what's going on with AI and upskill yourself.
Yeah. I think I had a really interesting conversation.
Be curious is what I like to say.
Be curious and like just maintain the quality bar. I had a really interesting conversation with someone who works at Netflix who was describing how their culture's gone kind of so AI obsessed that firstly, like, they're really struggling to find time to work because they're in so many AI trainings, which I thought was kind of ironic. And they were just getting so frustrated with only being sent AI work that they were like calling colleagues way more to be like, but what do you actually think? Because you've sent me like an 8-page Claude spiel, but like I just need your 30-second view. And I think, yeah, be curious, but also really remember what good looks like, because my worry is that we're all going to kind of lose that like edge. We've still got the edge, but like, does anyone else feel like their brain is like slowing down as they? Yeah, everyone nodded. Yeah, everyone's like, yes.
Oh, I don't.
Do you not? Emmy's still got it. We're all crawling into abyss.
Well, I'm just learning how to prompt better and learning how to challenge.
I'm getting so lazy.
Well, oh no, but maybe, I don't know. I love it.
I keep asking Claude for things I can do myself.
Like what?
Just like, what shall I have for dinner? And it's like, well, what do you want? I'm like, yeah, fair question. Just like losing, just like, maybe that's being a mum, a new mum.
No, well, yeah, May.
Because going back to the personal brand thing, I think is really interesting. That's what everyone should be doing and focusing on.
How we met.
How we met, exactly. What like would you say, because we love actionable advice right now, even using AI, like how can someone start building their personal brand if they haven't already? Like what, I don't know, what are the 3 things that you would advise them to do tomorrow?
So just post on LinkedIn every day. Just do it. Don't overthink it. Don't like get caught up in like what your content strategy is or what your optimization, like nonsense. Just put stuff out and then you'll learn. I really think we get in such knots about it, and actually just starting anything. Like, the way I always talk about it is if you just post every day for 30 days, in those 30 days something will happen that will make you addicted to it. You'll get a DM, you'll get an invite to something, you'll meet someone, something will happen that will mean that you'll never look back. That first 30 days is brutal because it's like awkward and uncomfortable and feels really uphill. So I think just start doing it. And then I think when you see traction, just prioritize, like I've said it before, but like just put the money, the time into it, like treat it like it's the most important thing. I spent so long under like having a outsourced EA helping me with my LinkedIn when my entire business was dependent on it. And then this penny drop for me of like, I have nothing if this isn't really successful. So what if I put my best person on it and it's like a completely different world?
Mm. And so would you say like once you get traction on a post, then kind of double down on that theme or whatever it is?
Yeah, probably. Like, learn from it, and that's a great thing that AI could do. Like export the data once a month, ask it for the 3 things you should do next month, export loads of your written content. Like obviously build yourself an agent that talks like you and can suggest prompts if that's what you want to do. If not, just like I use it a lot just to voice note, just like a lot of voice noting, and then like it will tell me back in my own language what I had once thought, to my point of getting more thick. Like obviously the fact that I'm having to get it to tell me what I think is flawed.
It's actually amazing that we can do that now, because I think if you had to post on LinkedIn before not using AI, that sounds horrendous.
Well, I did, because I'm that old.
Yeah, you and Emmie.
Yeah. Me and Emmie in our grey hair. Yeah, we've been posting on LinkedIn since pre-Claude. It was a dark time. We had to have our own thoughts. And now I have none.
But it's got you guys, where you are today, so it's amazing. So I think we've got to wrap up. But the last question we have is, on the flip side, what is the biggest mistake you are seeing founders making at the moment in terms of marketing?
Taking a principle of, like I've got a founder I'm working with at the moment, and he keeps referring to like how Red Bull split their marketing budget. I'm like, cool, you are not Red Bull. And I think it's just like the misappropriation of like big business thinking, like taking a reference and then just reapplying it in a context that's like completely different. Like in a world where you have, a budget that's like a rounding error for Red Bull. I think it's like the extrapolation of examples in a way that's unhelpful, that's just such a distraction. It's such a good way to send yourself mad. It's such a good way to really wind your team up. And yeah, I really don't think it serves anyone.
Mm. What resources would you recommend people then, like startup marketers, people getting to their first million or just doing slightly more than that, so they're not following the Red Bulls? Because obviously they're massive brands. Like, where do they look apart from obviously coming to you? What other resources what frameworks would they use? How do they know how to spend that money effectively?
Well, and this isn't like me trying to create a sales pitch to myself. I honestly don't think, like the stuff I love is like how we built this, or those podcasts about like actual grind, like how businesses get out of the ground. I don't think there's loads of stuff on your first 1,000, first 10,000, first 100,000 customers. And I keep talking about writing a book, and
We've just done that episode, me and Mo. We just recorded it. How to get to your first £100,000. It's coming out.
great. Well, I'm so excited. I keep telling everyone I'm going to write a book. I'm not.
We'll do it together.
Cool. If Claude can't do it, I'm never going to write a book. Who am I kidding? But I don't know. I think, listen to podcasts with founders talking about the early days, chat to other founders who are just as far ahead of you. And actually this was really like relevant to parenting. Like the parents that have really helped me have got a baby like 6 weeks older than my baby. And it's so interesting how quickly you like lose memory of like 6 months ago. So like I think finding people who are just ahead of you so that they can like really give you recent memory and it's like not rose tinted or unhelpful.
That's great.
And then I am thinking about writing a course and like running a program so that I can work out how to coach early stage founders in like a bigger, in a bigger way, because like our consulting service isn't really kind of approachable for like super small businesses.
Amazing, thank you. I think we're going to have a few questions. We've got time for 1 or 2 questions. Are you all right with that, Lottie? Has anyone got a question for Lottie about marketing, running 3 businesses, having babies? So do let us know what resonated. Leave us a comment, a like, a subscribe.
And don't forget to download this episode's playbook. See you next episode.